So welcome to the Power of Sleep. First, a little bit more about myself. I'm kind of a sleep geek or a sleep nerd. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Sleep. I have a long history in academia. I studied sleep in the Netherlands, then at Harvard, then at UC Berkeley, before I made a switch into the business world where I joined McKinsey. And it became clear to me how little of this science actually gets translated to the business world. And that's what really inspired me with founding Sleep. And I'm also adjunct professor at IE Business School. So with Sleep, we help different organizations all over the world in helping their employees sleep better through our sleep coaching platform. So first, a little bit more about why sleep and why should you care. Well, in this visual, you can clearly see how sleep is the foundation to both well-being and performance. And of course, other things are also important, but when you have good sleep, you will eat healthier in terms of your nutritional choices, and you actually eat fewer calories. You're also more likely to exercise, and when you exercise more intensely. And sleep also determines how you respond to stress and even what sort of relationships you can have. So there won't be time to go into all of that, but I will explain this relationship between sleep and stress in a bit more detail. But to really understand why sleep is so important, you kind of have to understand two basic functions of sleep. The first one is that sleep cleans our brain. So when our neurons are active during the day, they use up energy and they produce toxic byproducts or different metabolites. And these actually we need to get rid of. So this turns out that it happens during sleep and specifically during deep sleep. And you see this image of the shower because it's almost as if our brain is taking a shower and washing out these toxic byproducts, which then leads to a clean brain that's also much more effective in processing. Secondly, sleep really helps in keeping us emotionally balanced. Now, when we talk about emotions, you immediately think about the amygdala, or you probably heard of the amygdala, a little almond-shaped structure that we have on the left and on the right side of our brain that's connected to many different brain parts, including the medial prefrontal cortex, which is a really important region that inhibits the amygdala. So it controls, but particularly inhibits the amygdala. But that's only what it looks like with good sleep. When we haven't had a good night of sleep, we see that all parts of the brain are sensitive, but particularly the prefrontal cortex, including the medial prefrontal cortex, is affected. And what that then leads to is that the medial prefrontal cortex is losing this control over the amygdala. The amygdala becomes overreactive, and this really explains, as my PhD advisor used to call it, why we're kind of all gas and no brakes when we haven't had a good night of sleep in terms of our emotional balance. So what I now want to do is actually do a quick sleep debt exercise with you. And this is a kind of a measurement that quickly tells you a little bit about your current sleep status. So we're going to answer two questions, pretty straightforward. Firstly, how many hours of sleep do you get on a weeknight? So that's the answer for A, and just a rough average here is fine. And secondly, how many hours of sleep do you need to feel well rested throughout the day? So that one tends to be a bit more tricky for people to answer because this basically, gets at the question, how much sleep do you need? So to flip this around, when are you actually getting enough sleep? Well, when you're getting enough sleep, you can sit through anything boring without getting sleepy. So that sometimes comes as a little surprise to people. Secondly, when you're getting enough sleep, you can wake up without an alarm. It doesn't actually work the other way around, such that if you woke up before your alarm, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've had enough sleep. But if the alarm woke you up this morning, that is a sign that you didn't get enough sleep last night. Okay, so now what we're going to do is calculate what we call your Friday morning sleep debt. And what we do here is basically see what sleep debt are you building up during a work week. And to calculate this, we're going to do 5 times A minus 5 times B. And then I'd love for you to calculate your number and share your number in the chat. And maybe already good to point out that this number will be a negative number or 0, but not a positive number. It can't be a positive number because you can't sleep more than you need, if that makes sense. So it's probably a negative number that you're getting to. So 5 times A minus 5 times B. And I can quickly stop sharing my screen to see what is being shared in the chat. Okay, so let's see. We've got minus
5.
Yeah, I see it. Minus 5, lots of minus 5. Minus 15, minus 10, minus 2.5. Okay, best one so far. Minus 5, minus 10, minus 10, minus 5, minus 5, minus 7, minus 10. Another minus 5, minus 7.5. So these are quite high numbers. We see also quite a range, right? So the I shouldn't say highest, the lowest, I guess, is minus 15 in terms of sleep debt. And yeah, it's a bit of a math class, Volkner. I guess the minus 2.5 so far. Ruben for Mac is the best one so far. So what I'm always hoping for is that I have someone who is exactly at 0, because we would call you our sleep hero. Because that's really the goal of where we're trying to get to. But thanks everyone for sharing, because what you're probably wondering now is, what does this even matter, right? Who cares about the sleep debt? Well, when you have a sleep debt of 8 hours, and quite a few of you were actually above that, you perform similarly on cognitive and on motor task as someone who has a blood alcohol level of 0.1%. And that's actually equal to drinking 3.5 glasses of wine, which is basically legally drunk. I mean, if I have 3.5 glasses of wine, you can like pick me up from the ground, I think. But it really impacts you both cognitively and on motor tasks. So then, of course, the question is, how can you ever catch up on sleep? I get people saying, I've got like 1,000 hours of sleep debt. Now, what do I do? So interestingly, it's actually not a good idea to start sleeping in to catch up on the sleep, because sleep quality in the morning is not as great as the sleep quality that you have at the start of your night. So preferably, you actually go to bed a bit earlier, or alternatively, you take a nap. And then this nap, you want to take it in the early afternoon so that you still have enough time before you go to bed in the evening, so that it doesn't impact your night of sleep. To give you one more quick exercise that will really help with your sleep quality, basically anything you can do to relax will help with your sleep quality. But there's one exercise.
This is a short.
That I always like to do together. Apparently the audio starts immediately, so I'm just going to go to there. I'm going to actually take a seat during the exercise and invite you to, come along with it.
This is a short 1-minute exercise that can be used to relax and refocus. Sit with your feet planted firmly on the ground. Straighten your back and neck, but avoid clenching your muscles. Rest your hands on your knees with your palms facing towards the ceiling. During the minute, focus your thoughts on your breath. I will ring a bell at the start and at the end of the minute. Slowly come back to here and now. You can wiggle your toes and fingers for some energy. Slowly open your eyes when you're ready.
All right. So I'd love to ask you to quickly share in the chat how that made you feel. Let me quickly go back to the screen and see if I can see the chat. So I can also share myself. That one was actually, for me, quite relaxing. I see Lisa's feeling the same way, as is Maria. Or indeed, it can actually make you feel sleepy. So I think that's quite interesting, right? That such a short exercise can make you go from, maybe actually feeling okay, maybe some tiredness in the background, to the sleepiness being really front and center. But that's kind of the goal of doing this exercise, at least in the evening, so that you can really kind of separate and see, is there this sleepiness that will come around the corner when I'm really relaxing? So this is why relaxation is so important for sleep, because whenever we have stress hormones, we won't actually notice how sleepy we are until we do something that's very relaxing, where we really don't need to do anything. And then we might actually really realize. All right, so thank you. Getting to the end of it, kept it in time. Also wanted to point out that we have monthly sessions. The next one is mid-October, so Thursday, October 14th and Friday, October 15th. If you go to this link or scan the QR code, you can sign up. This next session is going to be focused on how to detox from tech and how to unplug more, because what a lot of us tend to do is be so caught up with technology all day that it actually also impacts our sleep. So that's what we will be discussing. And please reach out if you have any questions. And of course, we're happy to answer any questions that are there right now.
Thank you very much, Elle. That's a great session.
You're welcome.
Jane is already tired. No, yeah, Jane, you can't go to bed.
Well, Jane, that's maybe a sign that you have a too high of a sleep debt, and you need to either take a nap or go to bed a bit earlier tonight.
We could try after the conference. Okay, great. If there are no further questions, then thank you very much again, Els.
Yeah,
I hope to see you all in the next session. I think it already started. And I also hope to see you at the workshop and at the town hall session at the end. It will be fun. Okay.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye.